The prelude to conflict. In a galaxy teeming with life, where civilizations rose and fell like tides, one empire stood as a beacon of power and arrogance, the Terran Empire. For millennia, they had conquered countless worlds, their advanced technology rendering them nearly invincible in the eyes of lesser species. However, within this vast expanse of stars, a small, seemingly insignificant planet orbited an average star, Earth, home to humanity. The illusion of supremacy. The Terran Empire was ruled by Zlak the Magnificent, a figure whose very name inspired both reverence and fear. Zlak had long believed that his empire was destined to dominate all that lay before it. His council chambers echoed with tales of past victories, each one reinforcing their belief in their superiority. As they gathered to discuss their next conquest, a new target emerged, the Trey. The Trey were a minor race, known for their resource-rich worlds on the fringes of Terran space. Zlak viewed them as an easy acquisition, an opportunity to expand his empire without significant risk. "They are but insects beneath our feet," he declared, his iridescent wings shimmering in the light of the council chamber. Laughter filled the room at the thought of such a primitive species posing any threat. Yet, lurking beneath this facade of confidence was a growing undercurrent of tension. High Inquisitor Quar, always cautious, raised a concern that echoed through the chamber like a distant thunderstorm. "What are the humans?" he had asked, his voice steady but laced with unease. Intelligence reports hinted at an alliance between the Trur and these Earthlings, humans who had only recently begun to explore their own solar system. Dismissal and overconfidence. Zlak scoffed at this notion. "Humans? They are barely out of their gravity well. Their greatest achievement is a primitive fishing vessel that flounders in their own oceans." His laughter rang hollow as he waved away Quar's concerns like an annoying fly buzzing around his head. The council agreed. They would proceed with the invasion. As preparations began, Zlak's generals laid out plans for a swift and decisive strike against the Trur. They envisioned quick victories that would solidify their power further, but they underestimated what lay ahead, a storm brewing on the horizon. The spark ignites, days turned into weeks as fleets were assembled in anticipation of battle. The invasion commenced with precision. Terran ships materialized in space like dark omens, bypassing what little defenses the Tree had managed to muster. One by one, worlds fell before them. Cities crumbled under bombardments from photon lances that tore through structures like paper. Yet even as they celebrated these victories, strange reports began filtering in from their scouts, reports of human ships entering the sector unnoticed. Zlak dismissed these warnings as mere fabrications or exaggerations from nervous commanders. "Let them come," he proclaimed defiantly. "We shall swat them aside like insects." A fatal miscalculation, but fate had other plans. As Zlak stood aboard his flagship, Imperial Destiny, he received news that shattered his arrogance into fragments sharper than shattered glass. A transmission crackled through his communications systems. "This is Admiral Helena Thibault of the United Earth Fleet. You have attacked our friends and allies, the True. Withdraw immediately or face dire consequences." Zlak's initial reaction was laughter, a single human daring to threaten an empire that spanned thousands of stars. Yet beneath that laughter lay an unsettling feeling he could not shake off completely. He ordered his fleet to continue its operations against the Trur without hesitation. But soon after, chaos erupted across their ranks as human vessels appeared seemingly from nowhere, striking with uncanny precision and then vanishing again into space before they could be targeted. Reports flooded in detailing how human projectile weapons tore through Terran shields, as if they were made of paper rather than advanced technology. The Awakening Giant. As days turned into frantic weeks, filled with unexpected skirmishes and mounting losses, Zlak finally began to grasp the magnitude of his error. Humanity was not merely a primitive species but one forged in conflict, a race that had clawed its way up from its own planet's depths through sheer determination and adaptability. This moment of realization came dread. They were not facing mere adversaries, but an awakened giant ready to unleash its fury upon those who dared to tread upon its allies' homes. As I recount this tale today before you, my fellow council members, I implore you to understand this crucial lesson. We did not lose due to superior technology or greater numbers. We lost because we underestimated an indomitable will, a species that refused to accept defeat against overwhelming odds. Thus began our tragic descent into chaos, a tale where empires crumble before low-tech Terran fury. The invasion begins. As the Terran Empire basked in the glow of its recent victories, a quiet storm brewed in the depths of space. The initial invasion of the tree had been swift, a calculated display of power that Zlak the Magnificent believed would cement his legacy. However, unbeknownst to him, the tides of war were turning. The humans, underestimated and dismissed, were awakening to a threat that had encroached upon their allies. The Puruan strategy. The Puruan fleet, a massive armada of sleek ships adorned with shimmering technology, advanced toward the Terran homeworld. General Vec, renowned for his tactical brilliance, stood at Zlak's side in the command center aboard the Imperial Destiny. "My Emperor," he began, his tentacles gesturing toward a holographic map of the sector. "We will crush their defenses within days. Our quantum fold drives will allow us to bypass their early warning systems entirely." Zlak nodded, his confidence unwavering. "Yes, General. We shall demonstrate our might and send a message to any who dare oppose us." The council chamber erupted in cheers as they envisioned a swift conquest that would expand their empire further into the galaxy. The first signs of resistance. Yet, as the invasion commenced and fleets materialized in Terran space, strange reports began to filter in from the front lines. Human ships appeared unexpectedly among the tree defenses. They struck with precision and vanished before Puruan forces could respond. Panic rippled through the ranks as commanders struggled to comprehend this new threat. "Commander," a frantic voice shouted over the comms, "we're being attacked. The humans are everywhere. Our sensors can't lock onto them." The commander's voice trembled with fear as he relayed the chaos unfolding around him. Zlak's amusement faded as he listened to the panicked reports. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They are supposed to be primitive." The unexpected counterattack days passed with mounting losses for the Puruan forces. The humans fought not just with weapons, but with tactics that confounded their advanced systems. Ground troops engaged in guerrilla warfare, using hit-and-run strategies that left Puruan soldiers bewildered. In one notable encounter on a tree outpost, human soldiers equipped with makeshift armor and primitive rifles launched an unexpected counterattack against a well-armed Puruan garrison. They moved swiftly through the terrain, employing tactics that seemed chaotic yet effective. The Puruan soldiers found themselves outmaneuvered and overwhelmed by sheer determination. "Reinforcements!" shouted a Puruan officer as he witnessed his troops falter under the relentless assault. But it was too late. Human forces surged forward like a tidal wave, reclaiming their territory with ferocity. The human response, meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Helena Teppo watched the situation unfold from her command center aboard the U.S. Valor. She had been monitoring intelligence reports about the Puruan invasion and knew that immediate action was required. "We cannot allow this aggression to continue," she declared to her assembled officers. Teppo's voice was steady but filled with resolve. "We must support our allies, the Terran, and show these invaders that humanity will not stand idly by while others suffer." Her words ignited a fire within her crew. They were ready to defend their friends and allies. With rapid coordination, Teppo mobilized her fleet for an offensive operation. Ships were retrofitted for combat at breakneck speed as civilians joined military efforts in an unprecedented display of unity. Every human was called upon to contribute. Engineers transformed cargo ships into war vessels while farmers learned to wield weapons. A new kind of warfare. As human forces engaged in combat on multiple fronts, they employed unconventional tactics that baffled their enemies. Instead of relying solely on advanced technology, they utilized simple yet effective strategies that capitalized on their adaptability. One such tactic involved creating decoys, small drones designed to mimic human ships, drawing Puruan fire away from real targets. This allowed human vessels to strike critical supply lines without facing overwhelming retaliation. "Look at them," Zlak muttered bitterly as he observed footage of human tactics on his command screen. "They fight like rabid animals." Yet there was an undeniable effectiveness to their methods that left him unsettled. The turning point. As weeks turned into a month since the invasion began, reports from various fronts painted a grim picture for the Puruan Empire. Their once mighty fleets were now scattered and demoralized. Morale plummeted as stories of human resilience spread among their ranks. Admiral Teppo has rallied her forces. One commander reported nervously during a strategy meeting. "They've begun launching coordinated strikes against our supply routes and communication networks." Zlak slammed his fist on the table in frustration. "We must crush them. They cannot be allowed to gain any more ground." His anger echoed through the chamber as his advisors exchanged worried glances. But it was too late. Humanity had ignited its spirit of defiance and determination, a force that would soon prove unstoppable. The awakening fury. In this moment of crisis for the Purian Empire, humanity stood united against oppression and aggression. As Admiral Tybo led her fleet into battle alongside their Tree allies, they became an unstoppable force fueled by righteous anger and unwavering resolve. Each skirmish fought against overwhelming odds only strengthened their resolve. Each victory became a rallying cry for those who had suffered under Purian rule for too long. As Zlak watched his empire crumble around him, a once mighty force reduced to chaos, he realized too late that he had awakened something far greater than he could have ever imagined, an indomitable spirit, ready to rise against tyranny and reclaim its place among the stars. Thus began a conflict not just between empires but between ideologies, a clash where low-tech Terran fury would soon challenge even the mightiest galactic powers. The human response. As the Purian Empire continued to struggle against the unexpected ferocity of human resistance, Admiral Helena Tybo stood resolute at the helm of the United Earth Fleet. The invasion of the Tree had awakened something deep within humanity, a primal instinct to protect, to fight back against oppression. This was not just a battle for territory. It was a fight for survival, for the very essence of what it meant to be human. A call to arms. In the heart of Earth, Tybo gathered her officers in the command center of the U.S. Valor. The atmosphere was charged with urgency and determination. "We've received reports from our allies," she began, her voice steady. "The Purian forces are relentless, but we are not without our strengths. We must coordinate our efforts and launch a counteroffensive." Her officers nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting a mix of fear and resolve. They knew that every moment counted. The longer they waited, the more entrenched the Purian forces would become. Tybo continued, "We need to mobilize every resource available: civilians, engineers, scientists. Everyone must contribute to this effort." The spirit of unity. Across Earth, people responded to Tybo's call with an overwhelming sense of unity. Factories that once produced consumer goods were swiftly converted into war production facilities. Engineers worked day and night to retrofit civilian ships into makeshift war vessels, while volunteers trained in basic combat techniques. Farmers and teachers became soldiers, doctors and nurses transformed into medics on the front lines. The entire planet rallied together as one, an awakening giant ready to confront its adversaries. News broadcasts showcased stories of bravery and sacrifice, inspiring hope in a time of darkness. Innovative warfare. As the United Earth Fleet prepared for its first major counteroffensive, Tybo emphasized the importance of innovation in their tactics. "We may not have the advanced technology of our enemies," she stated during a briefing, "but we have something they lack: creativity and adaptability." The fleet devised a plan that combined traditional military strategies with unconventional methods. They utilized small, agile ships that could maneuver quickly through enemy lines while launching surprise attacks on supply routes and communication networks. One such tactic involved deploying drones equipped with simple yet effective weaponry. These drones could disrupt Purian communications and create chaos within their ranks. As Tybo reviewed the plans, she felt a surge of confidence. Humanity was ready to fight back. The first counterattack. The day of reckoning arrived as the United Earth Fleet launched its first coordinated counteroffensive against the Purian forces occupying Tree territory. Ships filled with determined soldiers soared through space toward their targets. Tybo stood on the bridge of the U.S. Valor, her heart pounding with anticipation. "Engage!" she commanded as they entered combat range. The fleet unleashed a barrage of projectiles that struck Purian ships with unexpected accuracy. The element of surprise worked in their favor. Many Purian vessels were caught off guard by the sudden onslaught. Human soldiers descended upon Tree outposts like a storm, utilizing guerrilla tactics that left their enemies bewildered. They fought fiercely alongside their Tree allies, reclaiming territory inch by inch. The power of adaptation. As battles raged across multiple fronts, it became clear that human ingenuity was turning the tide. With each skirmish fought, humanity adapted and evolved their strategies based on lessons learned from previous encounters. In one notable engagement near a Tree city, human forces employed decoy tactics to draw Purian fire away from their main attack force. While enemy ships focused on destroying what they believed were primary targets, human fighters swooped in from behind, striking critical supply lines with devastating effect. The Purian commanders struggled to keep up with this new form of warfare. Their advanced technology was rendered ineffective against such unpredictable tactics. As reports flooded in detailing human successes, Zlak's frustration grew. A turning point. Meanwhile, Admiral Tybo received word that morale among her troops was soaring. Stories of victories spread like wildfire. Every reclaimed outpost became a symbol of hope for those who had suffered under Puruan rule for too long. Admiral, one officer reported breathlessly during a strategy meeting. We've intercepted communications indicating that Puruan forces are experiencing significant internal strife. Their soldiers are demoralized and questioning their leadership. Tibo's eyes lit up with determination. This is our chance. We must capitalize on their weaknesses and push forward with everything we have. She knew that if they could exploit this moment of vulnerability within enemy ranks, they could change the course of the war. Rallying allies. As humanity continued its counteroffensive against the Puruan Empire, Tibo recognized that forging alliances would be crucial for long-term success. She reached out to other races oppressed by Puruan rule, species who had suffered under their tyranny for centuries. One such race was the Ixalari, a technologically advanced species known for their expertise in energy manipulation, but who had been subjugated by Zlak's empire for generations. Tibo sent a diplomatic envoy to negotiate an alliance. "Join us," she urged during a tense meeting with Solari leaders. "Together we can overthrow our common oppressor and reclaim our rightful places among the stars." Her sincerity resonated deeply within them. They understood all too well what it meant to fight against tyranny. A new coalition forms, with renewed hope and determination, an alliance formed between humanity and various races, previously subjugated by the Puruan Empire. This coalition brought together diverse strengths and resources, an unprecedented force ready to challenge Zlak's reign. As word spread throughout occupied territories about this new alliance forming against their oppressors, uprisings erupted across multiple worlds previously held by Puruan forces. The trio led revolts alongside newly allied species. Together they fought back against their oppressors with newfound vigor. The human spirit shines. As battles raged on multiple fronts across the galaxy, Admiral Helena Tabo became a symbol of hope, a beacon guiding those who had suffered under tyranny toward freedom. Her leadership inspired countless individuals willing to lay down their lives for a cause greater than themselves. With each victory won against overwhelming odds came stories that fueled further resistance among oppressed peoples everywhere, a testament to humanity's resilience and determination in times of crisis. As I recount these events today before you, my fellow council members, I urge you all to understand this truth. We underestimated not just humanity's technology, but also their spirit, their unyielding willpower when faced with adversity. Thus began an era where low-tech Terran fury met high-tech arrogance, a clash destined to reshape galactic history forever. Turning the tide. As the conflict raged on, the tides began to shift dramatically in favor of humanity and their newfound allies. The Puruan Empire, once thought invincible, found itself grappling with an enemy that was not only resilient but also innovative in ways they had never anticipated. Each day brought new challenges, and with them, new strategies that would turn the course of the war. The coalition strengthens. Admiral Helena Tabo understood that unity was their greatest strength. The alliance forged between humans and various oppressed races was beginning to bear fruit. The trio, once thought to be a minor race, proved to be invaluable allies. They provided intelligence on Puruan movements and assisted in guerrilla tactics that disrupted enemy supply lines. Tembo held a meeting with leaders from the tribe and other allied species aboard the U.S. Valor. "We must coordinate our efforts more effectively," she urged. "If we can strike at the heart of their operations, we can cripple their ability to wage war." The leaders nodded in agreement, their eyes filled with determination. Together, they devised a plan to target key Puruan installations, command centers, supply depots, and communication hubs. This would not only weaken the Puruan military but also send a message that their days of dominance were numbered. Striking back. With their strategy in place, the coalition launched a series of coordinated strikes across multiple fronts. Human ships, now equipped with advanced technology adapted from captured Puruan vessels, moved swiftly through space. The TRE fighters engaged alongside them, their agility complementing human tactics perfectly. In one significant battle near the TRE homeworld, human and TRE forces descended upon a Puruan command center like a swarm of locusts. The attack was swift and brutal. They targeted communication arrays first, cutting off the Puruan commanders from their troops. "Now!" Tibo shouted as they breached the facility's defenses. The sound of gunfire echoed through the halls as soldiers fought fiercely. They were no longer just defending. They were reclaiming what was rightfully theirs. The psychological warfare. While physical battles raged on, another front emerged: psychological warfare. The coalition understood that morale played a crucial role in warfare. They began broadcasting messages to both enemy soldiers and civilians on occupied worlds. "Join us," Tebo's voice echoed through the airwaves. "You do not have to live under tyranny any longer." These broadcasts reached deep into Puruan territory, sowing seeds of doubt among soldiers who had once believed in their empire's invincibility. The impact was profound. Soldiers began questioning their loyalty. Whispers of rebellion spread like wildfire through the ranks. Some even defected to join the coalition, bringing valuable intelligence about Puruan operations. Innovation on the battlefield. As victories mounted for the coalition, so did their ingenuity. Human engineers worked tirelessly to develop new technologies that could counteract Puruan advantages. They created energy shields capable of deflecting projectiles at unprecedented speeds and developed drones that could autonomously scout enemy positions. One such innovation was a new type of kinetic weapon that utilized principles of physics previously overlooked by Puruan scientists. It fired projectiles at hypervelocity using electromagnetic acceleration, an advancement that caught even seasoned Puruan warriors off guard. During one battle near a key supply route, these new weapons were unleashed upon unsuspecting Puruan forces. The results were devastating. Entire formations crumbled under the sheer force of human innovation. The fall of Zlak's empire. As the coalition pressed forward, Zlak's arrogance began to crumble under pressure. He watched helplessly as reports flooded in about lost territories and defections within his ranks. His once loyal generals now questioned his decisions openly. In a desperate attempt to regain control, Zlak resorted to increasingly brutal tactics, deploying weapons of mass destruction he had long deemed too unethical for use. Planet killers and self-replicating nanites became his tools of desperation. But instead of instilling fear among his enemies, these actions only fueled their resolve further. Tebo addressed her troops during this dark time. "They may unleash horrors upon us, but we will not cower. We fight not just for our survival, but for every being oppressed by this empire." The final confrontation. The culmination of years of conflict led to a final confrontation at Zlak's homeworld, a planet heavily fortified with defenses meant to repel any assault. But now it was humanity and its allies who stood at the gates. As Tebo led her fleet into battle, she felt an overwhelming sense of purpose wash over her. This was not just about defeating an empire. It was about liberating countless lives from oppression. "Prepare for engagement," she commanded as ships filled with soldiers surged forward towards Zlak's stronghold. The battle unfolded like a symphony, a chaotic yet beautifully orchestrated clash between two forces driven by vastly different ideologies. Human ingenuity faced off against Puruan arrogance as explosions lit up the sky. A moment of reckoning. In the midst of chaos, Tebo found herself face to face with Zlak aboard his flagship, the Imperial Destiny. He stood tall and proud despite his empire crumbling around him, his wings shimmering defiantly. "You think you can defeat me?" Zlak sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. Tebo met his gaze unwaveringly. "This isn't just about you anymore," she replied firmly. "It's about every life you've oppressed." With those words hanging in the air like a challenge, they clashed, two leaders representing vastly different worlds colliding in a battle that would determine the fate of many. The fall of an empire. As Zlak fought desperately against Tebo's relentless assault, it became clear that his time had come to an end. The very empire he had built on arrogance and oppression was crumbling before him, a testament to humanity's resilience and determination. In one final act of defiance, Zlak unleashed one last weapon, a desperate attempt to destroy everything around him, rather than face defeat. But Tebo anticipated this move. She activated her fleet's defenses just in time to neutralize his attack. With Zlak defeated and his empire shattered, cheers erupted among coalition forces as they celebrated their hard-won victory, a victory born from unity and sheer determination against overwhelming odds. A new dawn. As dawn broke over Zlak's fallen stronghold, Admiral Helena Tebo stood among her allies, witnessing not just the end of an era, but also the beginning of something new. Together they had forged a path toward freedom, a future where no species would have to live under tyranny again. With every victory won came hope for those who had suffered for far too long. Together they would rebuild what had been lost, creating alliances based on mutual respect rather than fear. Thus ended one chapter in galactic history while opening another, one where humanity stood not just as survivors but as champions of freedom across the stars.